Jim, that teach this content all across the US, and it's beautiful because now they're taking our curriculum and they're taking it out to the market. They're teaching it in their local market, but then all of the people that come through the classes are coming through our funnel. So when you do it strategically, a book can do a massive boost to your business.
And that's the so exciting thing. I've always been a part of different ones. And sometimes I didn't have that pathway. I just thought, that would be cool, be part of a book. That's cool to be part of courses, right? Everything seems interesting, right? And you don't know, you got to be intentional, right? As you build, I would say, your brand, and
Right.
this time more than anything, everyone needs to build their brand. And this is why we're kind of focusing on this, is to really show people, like last time we talked about growing your Instagram or your LinkedIn profiles, especially in commercial real estate. But a lot of times that's great. You're sending out or maybe reposting, putting it out. But the power of writing or being an author, and I love that you said it. I got asked to be in France, Germany, and other countries to be on their podcast. There are times, people are asking me to speak at different events and to pay you to speak at the events. So, I mean, to actually start building your credibility, building a funnel, building your expertise, working with other people will really allow, as Brandon, you really got it down to a science, art and science, but science of how this funnel works, because you started turning on the residential into massive amount of success and referrals.
Yeah.
And if you could share some of that by writing the book, being a part of the book, maybe some of the testimonials from the authors, because I don't know how many books have you written so far? I mean,
Yeah, so
quite a
I've
few.
written a total of four. They're all in the Raving Referrals family. So my mentor is Mark Victor Hansen. He said, don't write a book, build a brand. But Jim, you talked about getting paid to be on stage. And I'll tell you, the first time I ever got paid to be a speaker was at Ron LeGrand's commercial real estate boot camp. And, it's pretty awesome when you're getting paid thousands of dollars to speak in front of an audience of your perfect prospects. And that's the opportunity you guys have, right? If you think about setting yourself apart, how do you elevate your expert authority and really now get your message out to your market so that people who are likely to hire you are asking you to speak in front of the audiences, whether it's a real estate association. I mean, that might be it for you on a local basis, and that might be exactly what you need to be able to carve out that niche and now get that steady stream of clients and customers coming to you. But what we've been doing is we've been teaching the referral strategies, and it's been a game changer because it's so foundational for most people. Everybody works by referral. They want to generate more referrals, but most people really don't have a system or a strategy. They just kind of go about their business. They ask once in a while. And, Jim, I think that's probably one of the things that we should do here is teach the art of the ask, because this is the number one gap that I see when it comes to the referrals, that people aren't getting as many as they'd like to.
Brandon, do you mind just sharing a little secret, tease everyone before we kind of tell everyone, how and what we're trying to create and really change this industry on the commercial end? But if you don't mind,
Yep.
just sharing a little of your tips and secrets.
Yeah, well, so let's talk about the art of the ask, because I think this is the one thing people ask me all the time. Look, if there's one secret magic bullet that you had to give me that would change my business, what would it be? And I'd say most people aren't getting as many referrals as they want because they're not asking for the kind of referrals. There's two things. Number one, asking, and number two is your partnerships, who you're partnering with. So let's kind of unpack those separately. But the art of the ask is simple. When you've got a client that agrees to list their property for you or start doing business with you, what you want to do is say, once they've signed the listing agreement and you've got them nailed down, say, hey, before I let you go, can I ask you a quick favor? I get almost all of my business by referral, and I'm so committed to creating a five-star experience for you. And what I would like to ask is, would it be okay once I've really demonstrated my professionalism and helped you with get the result that you're looking for, would it be okay if I ask you for referral later on? Now, that's called setting the stage, and that's step one. You really want to set the stage, then you're going to listen for the referral triggers, and then you're going to ask at the right time in the right way. But when you set the stage, you're not asking for referrals now. You're basically saying, I'm going to prove myself to you. And once I do, would it be okay to ask for referrals later on? What you're going to find is some people are going to give you referrals right on the spot. They're going to say, yeah, Jim, now that you mentioned it, I actually have a client, a customer, a coworker, a partner that is looking for some commercial space right now. They're thinking about building, they're looking to lease, whatever the case may be, and you'll get referrals immediately. But the point of setting the stage is to help people feel comfortable and confident because you're not really asking for anything. You're really doubling down on your service commitment. I'm going to do an amazing job. You're going to have a five-star experience. You're going to love it. You're going to get the results you want. When you do, I'm asking to earn the right to ask for referrals later on. So you'll get 100% of people will say yes. So that's setting the stage. Now you start serving them. You're listening for the referral triggers. That's basically an expression of appreciation. Oh, Jim, you do such an amazing job. Dude, thank you for your follow-up. Your communication is awesome. It's been such a joy to work with you, right? Any kind of thank you, expression of appreciation. Now they're in a peak referral state. They've already said yes at the beginning when you started working with them that they will refer you in the future once you've proven yourself to them. And now when they're saying, wow, you're doing an awesome job, you've got them in a peak referral state. Now you go to step three, which is the art of the ask. I'm so glad to hear you say that. Remember, we first started working together. I told you I was going to wow you with the service and communication and professionalism. Well, now that you've seen what I can do, I'm looking to take on another client or two. Who do you know that's looking to buy or build a business and a commercial property right now? So when you use that system, Jim, what you're going to find is that people are way more likely to refer to you. And then at the end, even if you don't hear that expression of appreciation, you can just do a check-in with them and say, hey, I just want to check in with you on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate the service I'm providing? If they say 8 or a 9, you say, what would make it a 10? They say a 10, awesome. But in any event, once they come back and they're basically saying, you're doing a great job, I'm so happy to hear that. Remember, we first started working together. I told you I was going to wow you with my service. Now that you've had that, I'd love to help some of the people that you care about. Make sense?
Brendan, and it does work. I know in commercial real estate, even though it is different, but also the same, asking your clients, if you offer good service and really teeing them up, getting a testimonial, because many times you got to build your deck, you got to build the testimonials. And I don't understand when people don't ask for the referrals, right? Once you build the credibility, people are starting to listen and learn from you. You
Yep.
do the great job. Making that simple ask or asking for a testimonial. I remember when I was at Marcus, I started getting second and third generations. Sometimes my best client that actually sold almost $2 million in real estate with me back in 2007. I remember he gave me his aunt, his uncle, his clients, right? He was a lawyer, CPA, he was a manager for a lot of celebrities. And I remember just getting everyone around him but him. But I remember when I first called him in the 2000, 7 years later, he says, Jim, I'm ready. Let's sell it all, and he bought it in the last cycle, RTC1, back in the 89, kind of 92 era. And then he held it, but then the market, just kept going up. So it is so important, Brandon, to really build your credibility, talk to your clients once you have this to kind of set them up that you want that 5-star review, you want to offer the best service. And then once you close the deal is to take that next step of getting the testimonial, asking for referrals. And if it's not yet, at least you ask, you set them up. And a lot of times they say, well, maybe somebody else. So, it is very exciting, Brandon, to work on that end. Let's share kind of where the next evolution, as we've gotten to work with each other, what are we trying to create now, Brendan? If you don't mind, I'll let you share it because it was your kind of idea and just talking together so often. I think this will excite all our commercial practitioners.
Yeah, well, we talked earlier about writing a book, Jim, right? And here's the reality, guys, is if you've got a book, it makes you the expert in the other people's eyes, right? So you can create blogs easily with ChatGPT these days, and you can have it generate an article that you can put your brand on it and get out to the market. And you need to be doing that consistently so that people are seeing your name and they start thinking about you. And that way, when other people are having a conversation about commercial real estate, you're the brand that's on their brain. You're the person that they're talking about and recommending. You want to be the solution to other people's challenges. I think one of the biggest opportunities for commercial guys is partnering with the residential people that have no clue how to do commercial and then really enroll them as your partners. Keith's smiling over there. Keith's like, yeah, man, that's what's working for me, right? You're probably crushing it using that strategy. And so think about how you can elevate your expert authority. One of the ways to do it is with a book. So you can create your own book. And what Jim and I are doing is we're creating the next book in the Raving Referrals series. So this is my last book, Raving Referrals for Real Estate Agents. And right now, what we're doing, in fact, today's the first time we're announcing it, we're working on Raving Referrals for commercial real estate agents. So the plan is to publish the book on 11/11, November 11th, Veterans Day. And so right now we're looking for great stories. We're looking for stories of commercial real estate agents that have referral strategies or stories that have led to a big win, right? Where one referral ended up earning you hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions just from one client. And so we're looking for great stories of people that we can feature in the book. And just by being featured in the book, it gives you that press, if you will, in the book launch process of being able to say that you are being featured. We'll do a social media shout out for you so that you're not only promoting yourself, but you've got us promoting you as being featured in the book.
Brandon, and that's what the exciting thing is. I know most of our commercial. I remember when I was at Marcus, we don't put our faces on cards, right? We don't do this,
Right.
but as things kept on evolving, it's so funny watching I would give a kind of shout out to CREI, commercial real estate influencers, right? More and more social media, content building. And I'll just tell you, some of the most successful commercial agents nowadays are on social media, have written books, have written courses, do consistent podcasts. And I'm stressing to everyone because I'm out there. I always tell people I engage at least 6 calls, 6 unique calls a day. That's a lot. And I'm always talking to people and I use LinkedIn, right? Sometimes I travel, as everyone sees, I travel around the world talking to people, interviewing people, understanding what everyone's working, but it took me time.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to do right now, Brandon, is share, especially on Top Agent Nation and through our Renaissance group, everything that I've learned, but collaborate with everyone else, like you, Brandon. When I met, showing up right at a friend's event in Newport, Beach, right? I just saw you there. I said, "Wow, this is interesting. It's in my real estate wheelhouse. Let's talk." And now we're partners. Now we're, not only with HOA.com, but now we're writing a book together. So a lot of people here are friends and people I know. It's giving you the tips and tricks and ways of doing it that is not going to blow the bank, because I know what other authors, and when I first spent my first to write a book and give it to clients, and this is what I did to give it to clients, whether it was an ebook or something, I spent couple $1,000. I think it was like over $10,000 just for myself for stupid. Well, I don't want to say for an ebook, right? And then other chapters, it cost you a lot, but bringing this together, since I do know many of you personally and a lot of people out there, we're bringing it down. And that's why looking at this industry is reducing costs, building friendships, leveraging technology, putting together friendships. And we all know playing it forward, it always comes back to you. And by putting it out there, it is just, to me, fun. And I use this too to meet new, interesting people, because I always say, from building your brand, building your credibility, right? Building your track record. What also happens is you meet interesting people to create opportunities where, Brandon, you sit on advisory boards, you sit on boards, you get these great opportunities. And I'll tell you, 10 years ago, because of just what I was doing in the residential space for ARIA, the Asian Real Estate Association America, being very involved in NAR. I got an opportunity to join this other company, and I would say it was one of the best advisory boards I got to be on. 15 cents to $90. Not too bad.
Not too bad. Yeah, Jim, you're totally right. I mean, writing a book elevates your expert authority, puts you in another place. I mean, doing podcasts like this is my 50th podcast so far this year, right? We're just in June. So basically 10 a month is what I average, right? And that's other people like Jim inviting me on to tell my story to other people. Who can you be in front of? Whose podcast can you be on? The book elevates your expert authority. That's why people will book you, is because now you've got a story to tell that's different. But even if you're just starting out with podcasts alone, you can go to sites like Podmatch or Matchmaker, and you can find people that host podcasts that you can reach out to and apply to be a guest on. So, if that's something that you're interested, we've found great results with Podmatch and Matchmaker. I think it's matchmaker.io, but you'll be able to do a search and check that out. The beauty of this strategy is influencing influencers. If you think about who is already has the ear of your commercial real estate investors, right? Who's already doing business with those people? That's who you want at the center of your bullseye. Maybe you're working with M&A advisors, right? Guys that are doing mergers and acquisitions. You're probably working with attorneys and accountants, property managers, people that your real estate investors are coming to them with a challenge, which is, hey, I'm looking to expand, I'm looking to buy. Obviously, you want to work with franchisors because they're constantly getting new franchisees in the market. So those are just a few strategies, but it's all about elevating your expert authority, influencing influencers. Who's got the ear of the clients that you want to attract and serve? You want to add as much value to those people as possible. Having a book, having your own podcast will definitely change the game. Jim?
Yeah, Brandon, and I love that. And like even Keith interviews, and I know when I bring it, Keith runs it at Keith's Corner. Keith, give you a big shout out. And you know what the funny thing is, how to do this? You can record all your webinars, podcasts by interviewing people. You then turn it, when you have enough of it, into a book, right? You could scale it. So a lot of times what you do, one thing, as long as you record it, and now with AI you can save it, you can turn it into a book and start not only leveraging with what we're trying to do here, but using it as a springboard. So now you can start interviewing, create your own brand, create your own book, create your own following, create your own expert circle, and you just keep going, right? And keep building. But that's what we're trying to help people is kind of using this, if you haven't even thought of it, as a springboard to start building it, to being consistent of creating your own podcast for the book. And for many people here, create your own course, which, you're going to see another speaker come up. We're going to show people how to do all these parts from podcasts, how to do big events through different social media or just Zoom or Google Meets, how to set up like Brandon right now, writing books, leveraging that, turning it into courses, putting it all together, and then sending it out. I always say to the universe, and this is why I always have a QR code, kind of brings you into it, because once you speak and put events out, people will look at it and go, geez, what is this? Connection to your LinkedIn, connection to a landing page, connection to your website. And the more and more consistently you do this, they're just going to see all this material, content that you put together. Some are going to like you, some are not going to like you. The ones that do, they'll book out, right, Brandon? They'll reach out. They're going to try to get you activated, because everyone knows now with the world of social media, virtual working, everyone's reaching out to each other. So if you're not doing this, still not late, right? We're in commercial. Residential's been doing this for a long time, but commercial, it's still early, right? Like AI. You just have to plug in and do it. And Brandon, I'll just let Keith say a little, because Keith, on your Keith's Corner, how long have you been doing
Hey,
your
wait,
podcast?
wait, 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 wait. I just came from the dentist. My mouth is half numb. Can you hear me okay? And this is being
I,
recorded.
I can. That's all right, Keith. I just have to give you a shout, because out of people who I do know, you have been consistent. And maybe just A show of hands. How many people have written a book or part of a book in the audience that we see right now? Just raise your hand. Okay. So we got some work to do, Brandon, and if you don't mind putting your information in, we'd love to find out and hear everyone's story. And even if you're not picked for this book, we are going to write many others. They could be on capital markets, property management, technology. This will be kind of a start to hear people's unique stories. We are going to bring friends from around the world, as you see the first launch. As you know, many of the presidents, leaders, influencers I've been friends with, I'm going to bring them in, but this is a way you can leverage all of us, right? And this could be a good opportunity because as I was telling Brandon behind in the backstage, we don't know what everyone's story is. Just because maybe commercial real estate, you didn't build so much, but you had a life before commercial real estate. You did something fantastic. You may have done something when you were younger. You may have done something in college. You could have had an incredible life story or something so, I hate to say traumatic, that you got out of it, right? All of these things influences and creates, resilient people that are great leaders. And what we're trying to do is inspire somebody, right? So all these stories will really inspire to just get up and just start doing things, right? Make a difference, make a change, be active. But that's one of the things, Brandon, that I like to see that you and I would say, right, unity through community. I
Yeah.
love having communities and working with people and learning about everyone's story. Brandon?
Yeah, and I think you don't have to start with the book. Start with a special report, right? You talked about reaching out for LinkedIn and building your network on some of the social media sites. If you're just pitch slapping people, I say never pitch slap people, right? I get these LinkedIn requests all the time. I accept them, and all before they've even asked anything about me, they're pitch slapping me, telling me all about their stuff. And I'm like, man, come on. That's not how you build relationships. But if you do have something to offer them, like a special report, which you can do pretty easily, it separates yourself, right? Now you're educating, not just pitching them. And I'll tell you what, Jim, you know as well as I do, we created a certified HOA specialist course and designation that started as a special report. I wrote a special report on how to win more listings in top HOAs. This is on the residential side, obviously. I then went to go do research to find out, well, who's got an HOA certification for real estate agents? I found out there wasn't any in the industry. And so literally that's what we created. Now we have the real estate industry's only certified HOA specialist course and designation. Now we're the leader in that, and we run HOA.com, so we should be, but we've created a 4-hour course to help realtors become experts in HOAs and for them to stand out and has a designation and a badge and the whole turnkey copy, swipe, paste, post marketing collateral that people need to be able to establish themselves as that local HOA expert. So that's just an example of writing a special report that led to other opportunities. That special report drew opportunities, but it also created new opportunities. And so just think about how you can take your expertise and use it to pass it on. How do you package that message up with tips that people can utilize to help find a better real estate property? Maybe you're helping them negotiate terms on a commercial real estate transaction. Maybe that's your expertise is in the negotiation side. Well, that's going to be pretty compelling content to somebody that's investing millions and millions of dollars in a commercial real estate transaction. Now you got them on the hook. Have them opt in. Now you're able to nurture that relationship, schedule a strategy session, and maybe you're doing an audit. Maybe you've got a tool that you're creating where you're helping them analyze or audit their commercial real estate property, preparing it for sale, how to optimize your sale price on commercial property. There's so many ways you can package your expertise. But then the other thing, Jim, that I've done that's really worked out well is in the books, I feature different people that we want to partner with. So here, and this is, here we go. This is our experts and influencers section. So literally inside of the book, we're featuring some of the top people in the industry. Why are we doing that? We're doing that, one, because we want to build relationships with some of those influence and leaders in the industry. In this book, we created an industry icons category. All the top CEOs of EXP and Remax and other companies, as well as technology companies that have services for the real estate industry. What that's done is it's given me access to these people that ordinarily I'd be chasing them. And like I just had a CEO of a smaller real estate brokerage. They've only got 6,500 agents, but literally the CEO reached out last week to schedule me on his podcast because he wants me to educate his 6,500 real estate agents. Now, that's just one small example. We're doing a partnership now with Recess, thanks to Jim, and they have almost 700,000 agents. That partnership materialized because we're featuring their company and that CEO in a book. So think about your book elevating your brand. What it does is it becomes the foundation. It becomes your calling card. I literally just had a real estate broker this morning reach out and they want to order 20 copies of this book for all of their agents. And the beauty is they're now not only purchasing the book, yeah, there's a little bit of money there, but I don't write books to make money on selling books. It's all the back end. It's having lead magnets. And another just a quick tip, just to give you an idea of what you should be doing as you're doing the books. You mentioned QR codes. We feature QR codes throughout the book because people buy the books on Amazon, which means we don't have the information about the buyers. So then we use lures in the book to attract people from Amazon, from the book, and then into our funnels. So thank you, Mike. Appreciate you buying that. When you do that and you really integrate a business strategy into the book, it can fill your pipeline with profitable prospects and keep you busy for a long time.
Brandon, I'm glad you brought that up because you're using this as an investment, right? We're all investing in our business, or you should, in marketing and everything else. And this, a lot of times, everyone said before, you got to write an ebook, right? You got to give something away for free, right? We all heard about that, right? Write a teaser. But this is really taking it to the next level of, I don't want to even say if you just started, because everyone, usually in commercial real estate are a lot of go-getters. They built stuff. They had second careers. A lot of them were lawyers and professional careers. But when you use this, using the book, saying, we would want you to be in the book. This is what the book is about. It actually builds your circle to a level higher than you that you could aspire of who you'd like to meet. And I'm glad, Brandon, you made that because once you put them in the book, you are, in a way, forever tied. You're unified in the book. I remember, working with Rand Sperry, and he was so proud, like it or not. He showed Trump, said, "You're the greatest real estate agent ever." And this may be 20 years ago, okay, before he was in politics. But it was awesome. You just never know who you meet to get them to be part of the book. And then all of a sudden, that person becomes somebody. Boy, that's a lot of good collateral. That's a lot of goodwill. And obviously, you want to pass it back out, share it with your clients, and then you keep consistent. Constantly being on, sharing with each other. Because I hope we write this book. Each one of you writes a book. We're all helping each other, building this community. I love that, Brandon. Community, unity through community, leverage each other, sharing, helping each other, being on podcasts, helping everyone put courses together. And this is the thing, getting it out there because not everyone could do everything. You will start getting leads, referrals that you're saying, I can't do it. Where and who should I send it to? Then you're sending referrals and leads to everyone else. But that's how it works. You build your brand, you build your content, you get it out there, you start leveraging, staying with what you do well, and then you start building this network where you're referring and passing leads and deals to each other. And money and opportunity just keeps coming your way to a point where you're so busy, you don't even know what to do anymore. So this is the thing. This is the kind of the funnel, the systems that we're going to start putting together. But one thing, Brandon, I was saying, you work harder than anyone else that I know. I see you texting me all parts of the day and hours, right? Because you have exciting ideas. Is you got to put in the work, right? You got to put in the consistent work day in, day out. But you're going to see, you're going to really enjoy what you do because you're working with the people you like. And by constantly doing this and sharing with each other, you're building that community to leverage everyone and create really massive opportunities and prosperity for yourself and your family. So you can play it forward, volunteer, teach, give back, help out, right? And that's the whole thing of trying to free yourself from the 9 to 5 grind so everyone can kind of give back and do other things. But I want to give a chance to open it up, maybe to ask more specific questions because not too many people have written books, and maybe I just want to understand why not. Was it too hard, too expensive? What everyone's experience?
Yeah,
Master, you're
if anybody's
traveling
got any
now.
questions about the whole book writing, publishing process, I'm happy to answer those. And while you're thinking of your questions, let me just say this. You just need one signature talk, right? I started out with doing one blog article. That became a chapter. I wrote another. That became a chapter. I ended up doing a table of contents and then writing one chapter about each sort of blog article, right? So you just need one signature talk and you can do things really well. One of the things that we've cracked the code on is the whole book launch process. And so part of whether you do a special report or a blog or a whole, book, what you need to do is start thinking about how do you strategically bring people through your funnel? How are they going to consume your content? And then there's got to be a call to action that you're going to bring them to your website, whether you're scheduling a, one-on-one with you, you're getting them to call you or just get more information. You got to be thinking end to end. So happy to answer any questions about the specifics and the process of writing a book. I wrote mine before AI existed, so I wrote every single word. You can do it much faster and easier now. I just say, make sure it's your own voice. Jim's suggestion about doing a webinar or a podcast and really recording that, it's easier for most of us to talk than to write. So if you record what it is you want to teach, you've got it in your head, you know the expertise. It's just harder to take it and put it in written form. So speak it, record it, transcribe it, give it to ChatGPT or one of the others. They'll clean it up for you and make you look amazing.
Brandon, these are the things we've learned from each other. So I took this from another friend who told me to do this. And see, this is the thing. Everyone's sharing ideas. We're sharing it with everyone, here in our audience, and they're listening to us. But these little things, if you could just implement it and leverage it, and not sometimes to reinvent the wheel because there is a cost depending on where you go. But what we're trying to do is bring it down because there is a lot of the end goals, building the communities through this, then selling you a service, right, Brandon? You're saying just linking in with you and also just pitching you right away. And we all get that. But this is a
Yeah.
group where we're trying to help leverage and build a community with everyone.
Yeah, and community is the key, right? Serve, don't sell. When you're selling, people can smell that commission breath on you and it stinks, man. It stinks. It doesn't stink, it stinks. Master
Well,
Bynes knows the difference between those
well,
two.
yeah, Brandon,
So,
I'll just say the courses too. When you say the
yeah,
HOA, a lot of times I'll tell you this, people that are in commercial, we are mixed use or developers are turning apartments into condos. Every
yeah.
time you have an association, you need an HOA, unfortunately, or fortunately with Brandon, we're going to love our HOAs, right? But having you have this expertise talking to large property owners with an HOA or wanting to convert will give you a leg up because you will have that knowledge to talk to the owner, to understand what it is. I will say learning cannot hurt you, right? That knowledge certificate you should always get because by understanding this, you can now talk to property owners that usually have retail on the bottom, housing or condos on the top. They all have an HOA component, right? Or new sales or these parts, right? These pieces. It will make you more knowledgeable than other agents that do not learn about anything. To me, I'll learn anything and just keep studying because it is fun and fascinating. Plus, Brendan, you're right. By tapping into different groups, I get the referrals because they're like, I don't do this, Jim. I don't do commercial. I don't do this. Can you help me? Do you know anyone? Right? Because I'm going to a different silo. If we're all talking in commercial, well, that's great, but we're all doing the same things, right? It's sometimes interesting to get outside of your bubble into a different group. But
Yeah, huge. Jim, let me just touch on that real quick because this is the one of the things I love about the real estate industry. Y'all can get rich just through referrals, either giving them or receiving them, right? One of our biggest investors in HOA.com, he owns all the Remax franchises throughout the Caribbean and Central America. He's got 100 offices, 1,000 agents. And he said that the secret to his success was that he wanted buyers from the US to come down and buy in Belize. That's where he became the #1 Remax agent in the world by selling property in this little island of Belize. And Belize is bigger, but he focused on the island. And what he did was he enrolled real estate agents as referral partners, paid them 25% of the commission. Down there, they make 10 points on a deal, right? So his 5 points per side. So it was great commissions. He was paying out real estate agents over $100,000 a year who were just running ads in their local market saying, want to buy a slice of paradise? They'd refer the business down to him. He'd close them and pay them. So think about your own business. How can you generate a program where you've got all kinds of people referring business to you and you're, paying them if they're licensed, or maybe you're generating referrals that you're passing on to others. You're not even doing the work, you're just collecting the checks. So that's one of the amazing things about being in the real estate industry is that you guys can make tons of money just through getting paid for referrals or paying people to give you referrals. So make sure you really develop that program, have a process and a workflow that people can easily partner with you to start sending you business so that you're making more money and they're getting paid too.
I love that, Brandon. That's a great segue. That's why many people know we, with many leaders around the world, formed Renaissance because we have, I would say, 30 past presidents. We have technology to integrate not just commercial, but a lot of deal flow around the world. And then there's committees and groups, and it's really sharing not just one brand, but just many different people collaborating, sharing, and also just trying to keep, the good people, the people that want to truly help each other, pass deals, network with each other, because now with technology, there's no reason why we can't do this virtually, pass opportunities around. And then obviously when we meet in person, it's always fun. Keith.
Hey, I just wanted to tell everybody else that's watching this right now, this is a mastermind. That means you need to speak up. Don't just sit there and listen to the whole hour.
Thank you, Keith. And that's the opportunity. Sometimes, you know what I mean? It's hard to get a hold of everyone. So asking questions, and maybe April, you popped up, or Masters, or some people, when I see people smiling. And Aaron, thank you for being here. I know you jump on our groups different times, right? I like to call on people if they don't speak up, but there's always something to be said. There's always something in your mind, and I'm sure other people are thinking of it. But April, you want to say something, or Aaron, or Master, or
Well,
Chris?
Luis has got a question too,
Oh,
so I want to make
okay.
sure that we get that answer because Luis, it looks like your question is saying, hey, this is more towards residential realtors. I think all of these practices apply towards commercial as well, don't you, Jim?
Absolutely. Well, I'm in commercial. I've never done really residential. I think I did residential for my sister and I didn't even show up at the home and I just did the deal. Right. I'm like, just, I'm doing it, refer it back, give her back the deal. But Luis, in commercial, because there are things that work, but building your brand, building your credibility in books, that's why we're doing this. And you're exactly right. It seems like it's residential, but it applies to commercial. So we're tweaking it how you could use and build knowledge, credibility, opening it up to other people. We all know Bob Knackle. Boy, Bob, right? He built it with Massey Knackle back in the day. He was Coldwell Banker Commercial. He built Massey Knackle, sold it, $100 million. I think, what was it, Cushman Wakefield or JLL. And then he started a new one, right? But now he's the top influencer marketing himself. So, Luis, building it now before everyone gets on it. April, great seeing your daughter. But it's a powerful thing, Luis. So watching this, you will see more and more commercial that are ahead of their game are using all of the things we're telling you. But Master, you have a question.
Well, hold on. Before we go to Master, Luis, I just want to make sure we got your question answered. Did that address it for you?
Yes, I think it is. I was looking at your books and everything, and one
Yeah.
of them is more related to the real estate agents, and
Yes.
and I know it's very similar, but it has their differences as well. And
Correct.
I
So
mean,
we're
I'm very
writing a
interested, but
new
yes.
book called Raving Referrals for Commercial Real Estate Agents. That's what Jim and I are working on right now. That book is scheduled to be published on November 11th. So we're looking for people that whose stories we can tell, which is part of why Jim asked me to come on here today.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Luis. Master.
Yes, I guess this is like right on point with the synergy energy because I've been attending a lot of social media, professional development classes and having, experts, touching on YouTube. I know how to leverage YouTube, but podcasts did come up a lot, and that's something I'm looking to do myself. Is to leverage, podcasts. So I guess my question to y'all is it like one of the guys mentioned about having like a designated maybe space, in your place where you live, or maybe right now, maybe a co-working space to do the podcast. Like, what do y'all recommend? Just to have that professionalism and just to have that good background, you know, as you're creating good content. So I'd like to get some feedback.
Yeah, I'll take that one, Jim, if you don't mind. So you can go either way. You can go home office. I'm in my home office, right? Yeah, I bought an LED sign that cost me, I don't know, $200-300. Not a big spend. I've got some lights here on me. It's you can go full professional. There are podcast organizations where you can literally show up to their site. They've got it all set. You just show up and talk, and they'll handle everything for you. So it really depends on how far you want to take it, how much money you want to invest in it. But I'd say one of the biggest things, like if I were a commercial broker or real estate agent, what I would be doing is I'd create my own podcast. I'd focus on the local market because that's where you're going to get most of your business. And then I'd be scheduling interviews with executives, business owners, and leaders that are the type of people that I want to get in front of. And this is the power of a podcast. Whether like I'm a guest, I can get on just about any podcast I want. Now I focus on real estate centric podcasts because that's my market, but I'm reaching out to CEOs of different real estate companies and having conversations with people I wouldn't have access to, but for the book and for the podcast. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Does that answer your question or anything else, Jim? Maybe you've got something else
Yeah,
you want to add
Master,
on that?
and you can start easy as I just have a nice template on the background. Have a good internet connection. I've had those mistakes. I can already tell Nolan is a professional. I can see he staged his background. Yeah, well, you can tell after you've done this enough, but just the simple part is getting a good internet connection, having a good, background, right, that you create. Then those that invest in maybe your green room or staged way that you're filming that location. People put some of the books in their background. They put pictures, they put celebrities, right? You stage it knowing they're going to take a picture this way, a set place with the best audio, the best internet, right? That's the most important when you're doing this. But you can tell who does it. But being consistent and just doing it, setting a time, and the easiest is an interview. Just start talking to people, and there's so many things on social media, looking to speak on here, podcast this, and if you just reach out to people on LinkedIn, you'll find them, right? And you just have to be consistent, and don't forget to record it because you can use it for content and other things and marketing. So it's very powerful, but we love to share it and build this community. So Nolan, who else wanted to? Aaron, were you going to say something?
Yeah, so
Yeah, Brandon. Oh,
oh,
wrong, Eric. I'll yield.
No, I said Aaron.
yeah, regarding the referral system, so I'm taking a two-prong approach, and I'm just starting to build my system out. But I'm meeting with a property manager for single-family homes later today who has a large Rolodex of single-family home investors, cash buyers. And so I'm connecting him to EXP realtors on our team to have quick cash sales done for their listings.
Nice.
So that's how I'm providing value to that group. And then obviously I can collect some sort of referral fee in that process. But then what I want to do is have those agents that I'm providing value to start to refer over to me commercial leads because their clients also sometimes own commercial assets. So it's something that like I'm working on, but I see a lot of value in those relationships that are being made between the commercial advisors and the EXP realtors, in my area here in DFW.
Smart. Great strategy, Aaron. I would sit down and meet with all of them. Make sure you're doing with producers, right? You don't want somebody that's doing a listing or two a year. That's not really your perfect prospect. But if you can sit down with people, especially their farming communities, so you know that they're doing significant business, and just say, hey, I've got a lot of clients I can send your way. I don't do residential. So I'm looking to create a referral partnership where I refer you residential clients, you refer me commercial clients. We'll compensate each other through the EXP network. How does that sound to you? If somebody came to you, Aaron, and offered that to you, how would you feel about it?
Very good.
It's an easy script. I have a lot of clients I can send your way, and I'd love to talk about formalizing a referral partnership. We actually teach it as the referral partner blueprint. So we have a whole script of exactly what to say. And then when you meet with them, how do you go about getting into that conversation? How do you create a referral partnership with them? I'm sure EXP has a system. And Jim, are you guys using RESAS at EXP to manage your referrals?
No, but I know my team is because
Yeah.
of the large network and mostly because on Recess, it's all residential. I'm
Yeah.
actually scaling to build a commercial part to send all the referrals, which everyone is invited. Reach out to me and I'll get you a pass and get you plugged in. But that's the thing with 700, I think we're getting to 800,000 people on the residential ever since NAR, MLS, right? We all know what's going on. With this on the commercial end, all of those are mostly residential, resi-commercial to a small segment of commercial. Obviously, I want to make sure, the best producers for product type, geography, dollar amount, right? They're all different, is sent to the right people, but we are building that commercial community with the large numbers. And Brandon, that's what I am creating for Recess is so
Love
there's
it.
going to be more referrals to serve, each other. And you might as well pass it or you're going to lose it anyway. So now everyone can start passing deal flow to each other. So yes, that's
Love
what
it.
we're
Love it.
doing.
I think April had a question and Eric had a comment. Let's go with April first and then over to Eric.
Yeah, thank you for the information shared thus far, Brandon. And when you held up that last book, my question was pertaining to, it was an inquiry about referral partners. So
Yeah.
with that being said, how do we get a copy of the book that you just held up?
Yeah, so you can go to ravingreferrals.com or it's at obviously on Amazon. Raving Referrals for Real Estate Agents is the closest one we have for you right now. Jim and I are working on the commercial real estate agents version. So we're about 5 months out from publishing that. So yeah, you can grab that on Amazon and you'll love every minute of it. It'll be the best investment you make today for sure.
Well, is that the one you held up, the referral partnership blueprint?
The
Is that
referral
the
partner
same?
blueprint, so
That's what
this
I'm
is just,
referencing.
I'm happy to give, I'll send Jim the PDF and he can send this on to you. This is something that we just do for HOA.com and we just do this for our clients and customers, but I've got it in a PDF form that we can send to you. Happy to do that.
Perfect. All right.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Eric.
Yeah, so this morning I took about 30 minutes and I sent a text to about 30 people telling them to be on this call. And I told them, when you're here, you'll learn something that's invaluable. And so once again, the master, Jim Hong, orchestrates this. Brandon, you're talking about something that I believe in. I have not written a book yet, but my
Yeah.
personal mentor and dear friend began to challenge me about 3 years ago to write a document on a particular county. And it grew over time, and I wrote what was called a commercial trends report. Jim has seen it before. Keith has seen it. And I wrote it on a county that I've worked in, and I basically used the CCIM, Certified Commercial Investment Member, strategic analysis 4-step process to tell a story about a community. I ended up having a lady who once lived in Washington State. Now she lives in Puerto Rico. She does a lot of commercial real estate reporting and reports and has a team. She put together a magnificent presentation for me. What that has done for me, oh my gosh. I give it to everyone I talk to if they're a potential, maybe I'm going to do a cold call and solicit for their property, or maybe they're an investor or a buyer. And I give it to everyone so that they know that I can speak about the expertise of this community. And I can't tell you all the positive results that have come from that. We're updating it. I've done it now in a few other counties. And now that I know how to do it, I can populate it and do it again really quickly.
Nice.
So it's amazing. So kudos to you guys. I love this hour. You always come away from it with more firepower. And the people who take the time to be here are the ones who are going to learn. They're going to excel, but you have to implement the strategies. So thank you for your time today.
Yeah, you're welcome, Eric. You know, you've got to act if you want to attract. The law of attraction has the word action built into it. So if you want to use the law of attraction for your business, you got to take massive action. And one of the things that Eric said, I want to make sure you guys all heard this. He sent out text messages inviting them to a podcast. Inviting people to events is one of the most powerful things that you can do, because the things that you should never say again ever in your life is, I'm just touching base with you. I wanted to check in with you. I wanted to circle back with you. Stop saying all of that crap. You're not adding any value. Instead, invite them to something that's going to make a difference in their life. Right? And even if they don't accept your invitation, it gives you a reason to reach out to them and to offer value. And even if they don't say yes this time, they feel like you're constantly making a difference to them and their business, and your stock will rise in their eyes for sure.
Brandon, I'm glad you did this. Eric, thank you for showing up, right, in different locations, inviting people to show up because you're adding value. And every time we're getting feedback, what we can do to really help agents do better than just talking heads that you're like, well, that didn't really help me too much, but how to plug in, how to use this time so you do have a call to action, right, Brandon? We're doing this commercial book. There's so many more, right, that we could do, from asking for referrals, getting scripts to ask for, building that, plugging into courses like Aaron, what you're doing, talking to residential, speaking their language, plugging in. There are so many parts. But one thing that we want to do and help is building this commercial group, right? Building this relationship so you can start building your credibility, writing books, writing, or even what you said, just writing a one-page newsletter, and then you know what to do. You could use CoStar, you could use any of the data sources, fill it in, pass it out. I know many of us that were at Marcus, we did a update every month on what the rental rates were at, you know, what sales comps, square footage, what news reports were happening in, you know, our area of the market. All our clients love to get it. You know, when I remember once they didn't get it, they're like, Jim, am I off your list? I'm like, no, 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 no. You know, let me take a look. But once you do it consistently, they love looking at it, and it only has to be one page. So, Eric, I'm glad you brought it up, Brandon. One last question before we close out.
Well, and while we're waiting for a question, Eric, I'd love to tell your story of creating that report. We've got a chapter called Elevate Your Expert Authority in the book. So I'd love to get that story and talk about it, and maybe have a link to your landing page. Thank you, sir.
Well, again, thank you everyone for taking this time for Top Agent Commercial Wednesday. More to come as we're starting to teach people how to build their brand, building content, pushing out everything else. We are building our Renaissance team, which is a global network that we're putting together. So now you're going to see what we're going to build using leadership around the world. A lot of them, everyone knows. I always say it's my mentors too, 70 to 80-year-old. I think maybe, yeah, about 80-year-olds, the oldest. But a lot of trade presidents, a lot of presidents that have been there, done that. They still want to give back. So whether you're new and want to just learn, or you're very experienced and you want to play it forward to sit on boards, advisory, public, nonprofit, different companies, this networking group will kind of help you from the very beginning all the way to, you know, when you want to, well, we never retire as commercial agents or real estate agents, but just get you to that point where you're just happy, you're just giving back and you're working. And this is why we formed the group, with the people you really enjoy their company. So again, thank you for joining Top Agent Commercial Wednesdays. Join us every week. Brandon, thank you so much for your wisdom, knowledge. Please, everyone, connect with Brandon and with each other. But we look forward to seeing everyone again next week. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.